admit right out of the gate that some of these slides that I'm actually going to use, I only use because I thought they would look awesome on IMAX. So if they're completely irrelevant to the presentation, I apologize right now. Well, listen, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about visceral sustainability, and that's something that Bonnie really started to touch on just a little bit. It's really about engaging people in taking action. And I'm going to go through some slides here for you, and they're really super cool. Again, some of these I'm going to be really excited to see what happens. So I saw this quote the other day it was on a major university, no it wasn't ASU, that I thought was really, really powerful. And I'm going to read it to you. It says, the ultimate solutions to climate change are workable, cost-effective technologies which permit society to improve living standards while limiting and adapting to changes in the climate. And here's what I think of that comment. I think it's a total, absolute fail. I think one of the greatest challenges that we have when it comes to sustainability is that so much focus is targeted on things like technology. Everybody, well, technology is going to save us. Well, the truth of the matter is that if I build an extremely safe car and I give a bottle of whiskey and the keys to a 13-year-old kid and let him go out on the Autobahn, I can't really expect very good results, right? So no matter how much technology is adopted, the reality is we still have people that are very, very unsustainable, and we need to fix that problem. So I like to go out and talk about what I call macro sustainability and micro sustainability. And Bonnie's presentation talked about both. She talked about change agents. That's what the micro sustainability part is about. It's about individual people taking actions that become more sustainable. Notice the little light switch over here, right? That's something that we all can agree on, that if you flip the switch on the light and turn it off, guess what? You save money and you save energy. Macro sustainability is still very needed. We've got to have things like LEED certification, and we've got to have solar, and we've got to have biofuels, and all this other stuff. But I think the challenge, back to the quote from a major university, is that everybody's very, very focused on the big fix, and they forget about sort of the small fixes. So this is my first slide. I just wanted to see how cool that looked. Didn't that look awesome? So here's one of the challenges that we have here on this planet. The fact of the matter is we currently have about 6 billion people. We're going to increase that to 9 billion people in the next 40 years. But a bigger problem isn't just all the people that we're adding to the planet, it's that they're getting richer. And the challenge with that is when they get richer, they consume a lot more. The Chinese, the folks in India, all around the world, people are consuming more and more and more products and services. We're not getting any new farmland. I don't know, did anybody find any new land recently? I don't know if we were sailing out in the ocean, find a big island or something. I think we discovered Haiti a couple of weeks ago. We forgot about those guys for a while. But it's a great challenge, is we don't have new additional resources, but we're going to have a whole lot more people, and these people are getting big and fat, and they're consuming more and more and more goods. So I want to introduce you to my friend. Here's the elephant that's in the room. This is my friend Sarah here. Fortunately, she's a female elephant. Otherwise, this would be very inappropriate to put this picture up here. But this is really the challenge, you know? The challenge is that we have all of these things, all these people that are consuming all these goods, and I can stick them all inside of a LEED certified building, but the truth of the matter is if they keep consuming at the rates they're consuming, and they leave windows open and they leave the garage door open when it's 20 below zero out, it really doesn't matter how sustainable my building is. Again, 13-year-old kid, bottle of whiskey, and a brand new, really, really safe car. So what's the solution? Well, Bonnie alluded to a little bit. The National Environmental Education Foundation recently did a study of thousands of companies and tens of thousands of employees and found that, guess what? Employees are actually sitting there waiting and saying, I really wish my company would tell me what to do to make me more sustainable at work. Another study that was done just recently actually said that 80% of employees today actually consider themselves green. But they only half of those say their company's green. So they're doing these things at home, but they still haven't been given the opportunity at work to do these kind of things. So we need to educate them to do that. The challenge at work in particular is that nobody really cares at work. Here's the unfortunate reality. This study was just recently done by Gallup. Gallup says 71% of people that are going to work every day actually don't care. They really don't care about what they're doing. They just aren't interested. They're Facebooking, they're on Twitter, they're text messaging, they're wondering, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? They're not thinking about things that are engaging them in the work that they do. The interesting thing is this other 30%, they like to show this slide and say, well, 30% are engaged, but actually only 9% are actively engaged, working towards furthering their company, bringing them along in the market. That's a pretty scary figure when 91% of the people that go to work every day really don't care all that much. This is a really great example, and I apologize, but I don't know how many of you guys have seen this picture. There's about 4 or 5 other ones of them out there. And this is a road crew in Indiana someplace that was so disengaged with their work that they never even realized that they painted over the roadkill. And the challenge with this is when they even asked these guys, they said, look, man, that ain't my job. I paint lines on a road. If there's something in the way, nothing I can do about it. That's a real challenge. That's a real challenge, a real problem that we all have inside of our companies, making sure we have people that are engaged that will actually move the roadkill out of the way before they paint the line, right? So let me give you an example of another sort of challenge with a company that some of us know and love. Starbucks. Starbucks, tens of thousands of locations, and I hate that popping sound. Tens of thousands of locations all over the globe. It wasn't until last year that a customer in Europe walked into a Starbucks store, asked the barista behind the counter, why is your faucet running all day long? And the barista said, oh, that's company policy. We're supposed to turn that on when we come in, and we turn that off when we go home at night. And the lady said, well, that's ridiculous. So she called Starbucks corporate, and Starbucks said, well, that can't be the case. And they looked into it and said, yeah, guess what? It is a company policy. We did establish that very, very early on when we had about a half a dozen locations. We just thought it would be convenient for washing your hands and things like that. Starbucks obviously changed that policy, saved 6 million gallons of water a day by turning off those faucets. Now, that's the real cool side of the story. But think about the opposite of this. How many people work at Starbucks and nobody ever brought up the fact that the faucet was running all day long, 7 days a week, 364 days a year, I think it is now? So what's micro-sustainability? Well, back to even Bonnie's point. Micro-sustainability is engaging people to take individual actions that make their company more sustainable. It's turning light switches off. It's consciously consuming items. It's not using all those Post-it notes. It's using the flip side of the paper. It's reporting inefficiency, like we just talked about at Starbucks. Nobody reports it. It's never going to get fixed. The last thing the CEO is laying at home with Starbucks at night thinking, I wonder who left the faucet on in France. It doesn't work like that. He's got other things he's thinking about. So he's got to figure out a way to engage the people inside that company to take what I call visceral action. And visceral is just guttural. It's instinctive. We have to change the way that people think. There's an interesting